Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today's Tuesday, November the 4th. It is an election day in the United States. Going to be very interesting, especially in New York. Very, very interesting. So, what have we got? We are staring down. Oh, well, first of all, this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band. Charts are by TrendSpider and Gamma Flow information by Mentor Q. Today, I have zoomed out to the 4-hour formation because I want us to see what we are looking at, and then in hindsight, think about what we can put in our memory banks when we notice for days, even though price action accelerated up here, that gamma wall on the 0DTE event did not move. That I'm going to put in my memory banks, and that gives us this downward flow. We're now coming into the put wall. We did realize that the put wall stayed stubbornly low, and we are approaching the 0DTE put wall today. That number is 6,780. Put support, deep put support remains 6,700. The 0DTE call wall is well above at 6,900. And we've had almost a $100 point, a 100-point move in the ES over the last couple of days. Could this be a flag pattern that bounces? Well, let's think about that. I think this will do it for us. If for happenstance, this is a flag, right? There it is, sitting right there. What we are doing, and this is what I suspected we would eventually do, is fill in the volume profile. So we tried to fill the gap several of these days. Wick down, bought back up. Wick down, bought back up. Wick down, bought back up. Earnings last night, Palantir reported very nicely, stocks down. Uber reported very nicely, stocks down. Yum Brands reported pretty nicely, but they're trying to offload Pizza Hut. They're up, right? So we've got a little bit of, maybe this is a good time to offload a little bit. And so we are seeing that. And I suspect this gamma wall gave us a clue. So we're going to have to, I'm going to keep that one on my noggin. Okay, what are we staring down? Momentum oscillator, flat, but down. Our multi-length oscillator, tepid, but still down and increasing. Trend is down, and we are coming into the VWAP of the formation here at 6,768. Value area high at this juncture. The big fat round number of 6,800 could give us some relative support. Let me go to the 1 hour because I want to draw a box around this area right here. This zone between, let's take it there, 6,790 and 6,759. I think that's going to be where we congest. Okay, so let's go down to the 1 hour chart and let's draw a box around that. Let's see what we see here. Yes, here it is. Let's draw the box here. I'm going to widen it a little bit. Lengthen it, I mean. We'll take it all the way out to here. You can see the traders coming right into that zone. So if you say, wow, why is that? Well, one, put wall's right there, but also accumulation of inventory all the way through here. 3 days of accumulation, distribution, back into accumulation and then distribution one more time. So I believe we've isolated the key areas for bounce action. We can see that the trend is down. We can see that momentum is aggressively down on the 1 hour. The goal is this. What are the traders trying to do? Well, they wanted to fill the gap during trading hours, and they fell. And so what do I think they try to do? I think they're going to try and bounce. So my suspicion is that if we recover this line in the sand at about 68.50, that was where the put wall was yesterday. I think the 0 DTE put wall was 68.50. And now we are staring down price action that could easily bounce us up into this zone and continue forward. Where is the close of the day that has the gap? That's 6,825. What are we going to see? We're going to see a fight club right here. We're going to see ourselves another rock fight. And so that up there, pretty important. We also see minor inventory accumulation right here. That's something to watch. And so we expect that it goes from the bottom all the way to the top here at that 68. So what are we staring down? Resistance all the way up at 6,900. Secondary resistance, 68.72 to 68.50. I don't think we get up here today. That being said, anything can happen. Anything at all can happen. What I think the market is doing is just taking a breath, just liquidation of the garden variety, right? There's nothing that looks nervous here at all. Opposing wicks, something that we need to remember. When we see opposing wicks, we know that price action is caught in a region, and if we lose the bottom of it or breach the top, they've resolved that argument and they have resolved it downward. So the move was about 55 points to the south. What did we do? We came in about 55 points to the south on the measured move between this base and that peak and this peak and this base. So this is very ordinary, very controlled. We could easily see some movement back up here. My suspicion is we try to build more of the profile in these areas, filling out the gap, right? So that's my summary there. Above 6,825, more bullish action into 68.50, where I think we have some trouble, and then continued rotation to the downside. Put support all the way down here at 6,700. 6,700, and so it's entirely likely that we rotate all the way back down, right? That's just what we're staring down right now. Just charts taking a little bit of a breath, and nothing wrong with that. Very ordinary. Okay, let's go to the NQ. And this is good for us if we are trading things in the Qs, if we're looking at great big price action events. What are we staring down? Oh, this is very interesting. It's not even in the gap. All right, let's go to the 4 hour. First things first, we can see that the base of the gap, surprise, the base of the gap in the NQ has been tested, 25,700. Again, the call wall, stubbornly below the actual price events, and then actual call resistance on the month up here. The 0 DTEs, the put wall for the 0 DTEs, 25,850. Call wall for the 0 DTEs, 26,150. Big call resistance, 26,000. Here we are in put support. I think this thing fails. But this dynamo cloud says, listen, this is a counter trend short. That means you're going to look for support and watch for the bounce up. Pretty nice in general. But let's go look for congestion. Value, look at how far above value area high we are. 25,424. Let's collapse to the 1 hour. See if we can see a little bit more, right? Let's move that out of the way. And I'm going to move this wall out of the way. And then I'm going to move this wall out of the way. All right, so let's take a look at the 1 hour chart and see what we're doing. Here's the top of the gap. They came in, tried to hold it. Notice no inventory here. Now, we hear often that, nature abhors a vacuum and so does the market. That's not necessarily true. Well, it is true that nature abhors a vacuum, but let's see where inventory has built. Below, that's what we're staring down, well below. Notice what's going on. What is trend? Down. What is momentum? Down. Why are they bouncing here? Because it's the top of the gap, right? Where are they going to? They want to try and recover put support for the 0 DTE at 25,850. What are we staring down? Okay, that one got broken. So we're going to move it. And instead of this pattern, let's remove all these horizontal lines or all of these segments. Yes. All right, and we will look at a flag potentially building here. Right? Good bounce. So what are we expecting? Recovery of the put wall, right? Do people say, hey, don't worry, buy the dip? You betcha. They are going to try and buy this dip, no doubt about it. What we have to be careful about is watching the volume that this happens under and realizing this is not a buy and hold event in this broken flag pattern. We are well off these highs, this gap up of, I don't know, I think this was like 2.5% or some number like that. What we're staring down now is the recovery of the put wall and then the anchored VWAP of prior days, which is 25,880 or so, and then the wicking action right here. Of course, we're staring down these opposing tails, telling us we've got major disagreement, and the resolution will give us general direction. And so it did, right? The loss of 26,000. That's where the real call wall is. Meaning the monthly call wall, I expect price action to fade at or near that area, even if we get there. Value area low, 25,950. All right, let's take a quick peek at micro Bitcoin. Okay, as I mentioned, when liquidity starts leaving a market, you're going to see it here. This is, all right, let's use this one, much better. I don't know what contract that is, but oops. What are we doing? Double bottom. Traders are going to try and bounce off this 104. What is the trend? Down. What is momentum? Down. What do the traders want to do? Buy the dip. Everybody believes this Bitcoin story. I have to tell you, as a student of history, this is going to be a hard one to actually survive. Why? Because governments, they don't like you having your own money. They simply don't. But I digress. What are we looking at? A double bottom. They're going to try and hold this floor. If they cannot, my friends, what we are now staring down is the break that I have suspected might be the case on the horizon here in Bitcoin. So what is that number? If we want to make this a head and shoulders pattern and we say 110 to 125, that's $15,000 off of this edge. 15 here puts it into the 90s. The put wall at 100,000 should give it a little bit of a support, and then a continued breakdown as liquidity leaves the market. So let's do Fibonacci. And we've got a 2x of that being 88 and then 79. So my suspicion is that's where we're headed. However, I suspected that over here in the month of October, and it came back and bounced again. So anything can happen. They are trying to buy this level here. So if you short it, you better make sure that the bounce does not hold above 106,000. If you want to go long, I would wait until the test of the put floor and then the move to the upside. All right? The put floor being 103,000. All right. Let's have a peek. Just a quick peek. I know oil is going to roll, so let's check this contract out. Coming right into the floor of put support for oil, which is 60. Call wall still 60, 61. So they're caught in this box. Deep dips ought to give us buy zones. But if the dips are really deep, might be something else going on. They are going to use natural gas to power these data centers. It's the cheapest way to do it. And of course, natural gas is a flare-off of what's going on when we get oil out of the ground. So it could be a floor here. Deep dips likely to be buy zones unless something shocking occurs. Gold's going to be rolling in a little bit, but stalling out at the 4,000 marker. On the 4-hour chart, we can see a lot of trading. Look at this volume profile, right? They are being very aggressive, holding price action between this 4,050 and 3,975. Probably going to be what we're staring down, but if we have some kind of liquidity break, folks, this is going to sell off like everybody else. Having been around the block a couple of times, this flag pattern, it's going to be troublesome for longs below 3,971. Right now, they're in a bit of a fight. Lots of inventory accumulation at 4,000. If that liquidation break to the downside occurs, we've got a 50-point move from this zone, which gives us 3,950 as our next stop, and then more, right? This is my suspicion here. Last area of inventory accumulation. Right here, the inventory box comes in from 3,922 to 3,878 or so, right? Bit of a mosh pit. So it goes. I mean, we could get up to 4081. I doubt it, but the call wall is still at 4,100. The 0 DTE put wall is where they're fighting right now. Excuse me, at 4,000. And the big put wall is 3,800. So I suspect the traders try to make their way down here if this call wall stubbornly stays at 4,000. Lastly, we'll take a look at SPY. SPY bouncing off the floor here. I got a lot of lines that I don't need anymore, so we don't need that one. Too noisy. We definitely do not need the 684. The call wall is taking our 686 number. And Yeah, we came right down into this area, value area high. Take a look, this wick. I gotta be better at paying attention to these wicks. They really matter. Let's get rid of this Fibonacci. Okay, a little bit cleaner. What are we seeing? Gap. They gap down at 4 a.m. through the gap. So what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to fill the gap, right? Does that happen? Well, whether it happens or not, they try to make it happen. So that's what we're going to watch. What that means is for shorting events, you have to be careful about engaging here as a support floor because the gap fill is at 682. And this 679 could be a new area of resistance, but don't pile in there. And if it comes in at this 680 and you want to hold it until 682, just remember your size. All right? You want to be very careful here. The put support for the 0 DTEs, 675. We tested it, slipped into the gamma line of 674, and now trying to get above the anchored VWAP at 677.36. That will be the line in the sand, methinks. I anticipate a reflexive bounce here. We'll see how much traction they get, though, right? It's going to be very important. Watch your size today. We could see all kinds of movement in both directions. Big wicks becoming the hallmarks of every day. So pay attention as intraday volatility continues. We want to be thoughtful of that and realize that it can happen. So wait for the big edges to go short. Wait for the deep dips to go long and manage that risk. All right, everyone, take care.